Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Zondag's Weekday Live Show. Boys and girls, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, so glad you're here. My name is Maurice Zondag, and I'm here for the show today. Every day of the week, Monday to Friday, we're here live on this episode, on this show, to talk about personal development and how you can increase your life by value, by real value. So make sure your sound is on, of course, that's important, otherwise you can't hear me. And that's what we do. My name is Maurice Zondag, and I am a personal leadership lion. Indeed, that's what we do. We create the lion inside of you to gain back the king of your kingdom, the lion of your kingdom here on Master Your Personality. So that's what we do. That's what I help people, especially men, but the girls and the women are out there and watching this are very welcome too, because this is pretty much for all human beings in that matter. But I work mostly with men. Well, you girls know why, right? That's our little secret. But nevertheless, no, really, I mean, we're all about gaining momentum in life, improving our lives, and that's what we do here in the show. So, topic of today, it is the $1 million question to all of us. Is $1 million gonna make you happy? That's an interesting question, right? I mean, we all have these feelings that, if we only would be rich, if we would be famous. I mean, what I've found is that with a lot of people that I work with, in the beginning, when we talk about what will make you happy, just name it. Tell me what's making you happy. They'll say money will make me happy, because if I have money, I can do whatever I like, and I can have the life. I don't have to work anymore. I can just lay on the beach all day and drive a nice car and things like that. Have a great house. So money is one thing that will definitely make me happy. But what I've seen in many occasions, and especially the last time I was in Monaco this summer, where a lot of people have a lot of money, that doesn't mean that they're happy per se, right? I mean, sure, they got the nice Ferraris and Rolls Royces and their yachts and their big houses, but are they really happy? Are they fulfilled? Are they really feeling happy? Not per se. And I was intrigued by that whole paradox, right? We've got this idea that when you're poor, that you feel like you need money to be happy. And if you are rich and you are a millionaire or you are wealthy, they'll say, money doesn't make you happy. So what is it? Is it just a scam? Is it some trick from the rich to keep us poor, right? Don't follow the money. I mean, don't go for the money, because it's not going to make you happy. And the poor people think, well, that's easy for you to say because you have the money, right? I get that. But so yeah, I was intrigued by that. And I did some research on that. And I came across this study from Harvard, which is actually one of the longest studies that has been going on for more than 80 years or 75 years plus. It's I think it's about in their 79th year at the moment. And it's a study which is called the Adult Development Study. And they are following these men from the beginning, right? Because, it was back in the 30s. So, women, who are they? I mean, happy. Why should women be happy? Let's study men. That's like the mindset of those days, right? So they started off with men. And over these years, they studied, or in this study group, it was around 725 people, I think they started with. And they pretty much separated two categories, right? There were two types of groups they studied. There was this one particular group that were students, right, from Harvard, that were in their sophomore years, and they're, developing in their teens. They all were pretty much in their teens when they started this research, and they followed them up throughout their whole life. And the study is still going on, right? So it's still something that's been doing. And I believe Robert Waldinger is the current head of the study itself at Harvard. So one group, students, wealthy, they're doing well, they're at college, and they have this great career, because you got to work hard, right? That's the goal. We got to work hard, and then we get rich, then we can pay everything that we want, we can have everything that we want, and we'll be happy. I mean, that's pretty much what the whole society is teaching you, right? You got to go to school, you go to study, you go studying, you go to college, you get a job, you build your career, you find yourself a lovely wife or husband, you have some kids, you build a house, you have a Labrador and a beautiful car, and that's it. You're happy. That's it. That's the secret for being happy. That's what we're being taught as kids, right? Mom, I don't want to go to school today. Well, you got to learn, because you can go to college and then you can have a great career. That's what we've been told. So these guys were at college. The other group of people they got into the study were like the real poor people from some suburbs at the Boston area. And back in the 30s, the big depression was just there, and it was hard days, right? World War II was on its way, so a lot of men also went to war, and they followed each man during this his path through life, through their teens, their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, 60s, 70s. And even now, some of them, I believe, there are around 50 or 60 people still alive back in, they're in their 80s or their 90s. And so they still being followed up, right? Every 2 years they get a questionnaire, and they get interviews, and they videotape conversations they're having with their family, and they interviews their kids. It's over 2,000 kids that they, the grandchildren and things like that they also incorporate in the study. And of course, somewhere in the 60s or the 70s, they also entered women into the group. So it's a very interesting study, because it's been going on for so many years, and they actually they were able to track the lives of all these people from their teen years, starting in the 30s, up to all the decades afterwards, right? The 70s with flower power, and the 80s and the 90s, and now the new millennium. So those men were also being taught, you got to work hard, you got to show up, you got to do your thing, you want to strive for money, you want money. And if you're like that, if you're like a teen, or end of teens, like 18, 19 years old, who do you want to be? What do you want to be when you grow old? Well, I want to be famous. I want to be, we get that feeling, right? That you've been a teenager. But is it actually what we should strive for, or strive for? Is it really gonna make us happy? That is, of course, the big $1 million question. And the funny thing is, within this study, because this group of men were so diverse, I mean, all walks of life happened, right? There were people that got sick and died. There were people that dived into alcoholism. But other people climbed up the social ladder, from being some poor kid to a tycoon, or even one of the U.S. presidents was one of the study. So it seemed at the end, or at least somewhere in that period of time. So it was a really interesting study to see how diverse people are, how strange lives they could have, and how interesting that is to study it. Even though each individual might have think, how important is my life? How big of a deal is it that I go to work every day at my clerk job, and I do my thing, and that's it? I have my grandchildren, and I'm retired, and I go bowling with my friends, and that's it. Well, it's a questionnaire that's been asked, a study that's been going on to find the answer. What makes us happy, right? And there are people that are rich, right? But are they happier than the poor ones? And the results of the study so far, as they could see, they got some results already, and they try to predict as well on this group of men that if you're studying people that are now in their 50s, can you then predict in their future how happy they will be based on all the data you get? So the things that I discovered was really interesting, and the main thing that they discovered is that being wealthy isn't making you happy. So there it is. The $1 million question, right? Does money make you happy? Does a lot of money make you happy? No, it doesn't. Not for a bit. It gives you pleasure, right? It might give you pleasure at a moment in time when you reach a certain amount. But there's also this bias we have that we think we should always have more. So even if you have $1 million, I mean, you're going to have a life based on that $1 million. So you could still have financial problems, right? You could still need more because you otherwise can't keep up with the Joneses, or maybe the Kardashians, right? In that case. So money isn't making you happy. Now, what is then the result of that study? What is the answer to what makes you happy? And the one thing that really stood out and really affected multiple things in people's lives on the effect of it, of that happiness, where they could really predict how happy and healthy they were and how old they grew, and their state of mind, and how happy life they have, is about the connections you have. The relationship with people around you is what makes you happy. And that is a very, very interesting thing, especially in these days of COVID, where isolation is our norm, right? We can't connect to others. We have to stay at home. We can't go out with friends. We can't hug people. Well, connection is the essence of happiness. And what they showed in this study is they could predict men from their 50s, if they would state in their interviews that they have a very warm and warm relationships, good relationships, where we can really connect with people, where we can relate on each other, where we can trust each other, good close friendships or relationships, love relationships. If you have these types of love lives, or connection lives, that is a big prediction to your future and your future health. They even showed that the memory loss of people without the connections was bigger than the memory loss of the people with the warm connections. Now, isn't that interesting? And it's it's nothing new, right? We all knew that. I mean, now I've told you, but you knew, right? Because we don't want to be lonely. We don't want to be alone. We want to connect with others. That's in our nature. And it doesn't have to be that you have to have 1,500 Facebook friends and be warm and cozy and fuzzy with that. No, it's about true connections. And that can be like 5 or 6 people in your life in a certain moment of time, right? If you have your spouse and you have your children, your family, and some close friends, you should not feel lonely. And that's the key to the thing. 20% of the modern world says he or she feels lonely, which is, pretty much the equation as saying not happy, right? Unhappy. So if we can fix that, if you can fix the connection part, the love part, that is actually the key to your happiness. So being happy isn't all about these tricks or the things that we talk about or you read about online, or the quotes you see on Instagram or whatever it is. The only truth there is about happiness is that you need connection with others, right? And of course, to be able to create those connections, there are you need certain aspects of that, right? You need things in your life so you'll be able to make those connections. And that is also why I, in my methodology that I use to help my clients, is I work from these 5 sources of happiness. And one of these 5 sources is love. And that's for a specific reason, right? Because love is something we all want. We all want to be loved. We all want to give love. We want to receive love. So love is a big factor in your happiness life. But the second one is connection. How do we connect with people? How can we socially interact with people? How can I make my message come across? Now, if I would talk Dutch right now, we would miss the connection, right? Because if you're watching this and you don't speak Dutch, you won't be able to understand what I'm saying, and we can't connect. So the language, the way we talk, the body language, the way we look, the way we use the words, which words do we use to really connect to each other? You might have heard of the word rapport, right? We want to create rapport with someone, which means you got to connect with someone. because they relate to you and you understand each other and you can trust each other. That's a very, very important part of your happiness. Just to finish it off, the third one is your energy. Are you feeling masculine if you're a male? Or are you feeling feminine when you're a woman? Because that keeps you out of balance. If you're not masculine enough for yourself, you'll get out of balance if you're a man, right? You don't feel yourself who you truly are from the inner core of who you are. So that energy you carry, and we both carry both, right? I mean, I have my feminine side and I have my masculine side, but my masculine side should be a little bit bigger than my feminine side because I'm a man, right? That makes sense. So that's an important one. And the fourth one is personal development, because what I said before, if you want to grow, if you want to live, you need to grow. Everything that lives grows. That's a law of nature. So you need to grow, you need to develop. Otherwise you'll get back on the pack. And the fifth one is balance, right? We need to create the balance of everything in everything. Nature is balance, right? There is no darkness if there is no light. There is no light if there is no darkness. I mean, we have these things that we need to combine. So the five sources of happiness goes about these five, but love and connection making are essential for this, for this whole thing. And that's what this study shows, this Harvard study, 75 years, 79 years already into the study. And they see that the results are, if you look at the people who are in their 80s at the moment, if they look back, they had great connections in their life. And now that is important, of course, in these days, because of the isolation and because of the COVID crisis, and because we got isolated and we have to stay away from people, and we even get scared of meeting people, right? I saw the other day, I was walking around the block here, and I was coming across other people, and people really like take a big, how do you call it, a big bow around you, because you don't want to get too close to people, which is so unnatural, right? And again, it's not about the amount, it's not about the quantity, right? It's about the quality. So be aware that even though you cannot meet new people or can't really interact with people the way you used to be, really look out for the people that you can connect with. If you're having a family at home, right, take care of them. Be sure that you spend your time with them as well, to really understand each other and not take things for granted, right? If you have your family or you have friends, connect with them. Ask them, how are you doing, right? How you're feeling. We need to do that more. I need to do that more, right? I understand it as well. It's a lesson for me as well, because that is so important. And we sometimes just we get hooked up into the things that we do every day, the work you're doing, the stuff in your head you're worrying about, or the things that's going on in the world that makes you wonder and maybe even a little bit anxious. We got to focus really on that good side of our lives, right? The people that we can connect to. Now, if you're watching this and you do feel lonely, reach out to me. I'm here for you. Let me be that guide for you now, right? We need to connect to each other to help each other out there. So this is my call to you. If you do feel lonely, if you're one of these 20% of the world that you feel like, I have no friends, I have no family, I'm alone, I'm sitting in my home all day long just playing some games, and that's it, and I do my work and I work from home, so I don't see my colleagues anymore. Whatever it is, if you're feeling lonely, reach out to me. You can send me a direct message. You can comment in this thing here, and I'll reach out to you. I'll make you feel, connected, and we're gonna work on that together. We're gonna create a life for you where you are able to connect, or you can connect to others, where you learn how to do that. How if you're introvert like me, I'm an introvert. It might surprise you, but I'm an introvert by myself, right? So I love spending time alone. And though yet I have learned to be extroverted, I've learned how to connect with people and how to engage with people without being, awkward or things like that. So it is a skill you can learn. Everyone can learn that. So please do that. If you feel like that, do not hesitate. Contact me and we'll hook up on that. for free, right? I'm not gonna charge you money to to be able to send a message or whatever. But if you really want to work on it, you really want to dive into it, and you want to have me as your coach, we're gonna definitely create something that works for you, and make it work there as well. So that's very important. Now, to close off, I wanted to share a story because I know where you've been, right? If you're in your life, you're having this situation at the moment in your life where you're feeling alone and you're feeling abandoned from others. You're losing friends. You've lost loved ones. Maybe someone died from whatever it is at the moment. I mean, all deaths are equally. Or you're in a divorce or whatever the situation is. You feel lost, right? I've been there. 8 years ago, I went through a divorce myself, and I got really into a deep depression where I felt alone. I really felt alone. Well, I had people around me that loved me, right? But I did feel alone because I lost all my friends, and I lost my wife, right? I lost my beacon, the trust, the things that I had, and everything was lost. So I know what you're feeling. But I want to share this story, which might give you, a little bit of hope that it is really not always as you think it is. Um, it was about 6 months into my divorce. I was living at my parents again. Went back home there. They gave me a shelter and a place to live. And I remember that I was remembering the past months. It was around December, the end of December, right past Christmas, right? The horrible season of Christmas when you're alone. And I thought, I know there are people that help me. I know they're there. So, I mean, it's just a couple. So, let me just send them a quick email. Let's be creative. So what I did, I took my phone, an iPhone. So I had my iMovie on it, and I combined all the pictures from these last 6 months. And I created it into a little video for like 2 minutes, whatever. And I sent it through email to these people that I thought, they were there for me when I needed them. A shoulder to cry on, a kiss on the cheek, whatever it was, right? Something that really helped me. And that felt good, right? It felt good. It helped me lift my mood up a bit. And then I got a reply on that email. And it was from someone I didn't, expect him to reply on that email. It's just one of the acquaintances that I had, and he was one of the group where I was a member of, and yeah, well, he was one of the groups, so he of course he backed me up, right? He was there for me, but he didn't really do anything special, but he just was there. And he wrote in that email, he said, "Well, Maurice, thank you so much for the video. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. It was a beautiful video. And just know that I'm here for you. If you ever want to have a coffee or a beer or whatever, just give me a call and we'll go out." And that really touched me, and I feel that it still does something to me. That someone you don't expect it from reaches out like that. So I was really touched by that, and I wanted to reply on his email saying, dude, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for offering that. That really means a lot to me. And while I was clicking on reply, I clicked by accident on reply to all, and then I saw it, and it was like as if I was feeling alone. I was like feeling standing in some dark forest, right? In that part of my life, it felt like I was in a deep, dark forest with rain and wind and cold, and I was alone, and that's it. And it was like a cry for help that I did out there in the forest in the middle of the night, right? And all of a sudden, the sun came up, so I could see the faces of all those people that I sent that email to. And I saw them there. I saw the names in the email. I saw them one by one. And Google has in Gmail, it has this little thing where it says the amount of people you have in the address box. And it said 60 people. So I thought I was alone, right? I felt alone. I felt lonely. But there were 60 people that I thought I qualified them, right? I validated them. as being people that were there for me during those 6 months. 60 people. And then it struck me. I was like, how could I think that I'm alone, that I'm lonely? There are 60 people I can choose from to spend my time with, to laugh, to cry, to tell the stories, to go through life with, to enjoy life with, to connect with, to do fun stuff with, to have deep, meaningful relationships with. Um, I wasn't alone. So then I saw that the difference between loneliness and the thought of being alone isn't what the truth really was. Now, I felt alone, but I wasn't alone. And then alone made me realize that, it's not as bad as I thought. So, what I want you to do, if you do feel lonely, make a list, grab a pen and paper, or grab your phone, or whatever you do, and write down from the top of your head the names of the people that you think you can call or text or send a Facebook Messenger, whatever. And if you would say, hey man, how are you doing these days? That they will reply and will not ignore you and ask you the genuine question too, right? And with that thought alone, just write down, keep writing until you can't think of anyone else. And then start counting how many people there are. And if you have the same experience as me, you'll see that it's more than you expected it was. And it doesn't have to be 60. It doesn't have to be 40. It can be 5 or 10 people. It doesn't matter. If you have 5 people in your life that you know, that you can count on, that you can text or WhatsApp or call or, sit in the park with 6 feet distance, right? If you have 5 people like that, you're not alone. So you shouldn't feel lonely because you're not alone. Because they're there for you. They are supporting you. They want to hug you. They want to tap you on the shoulder, right? They want to be there for you. They want to help you. So I hope this helped, man. And yeah, I mean, happiness is the key to that, right? If you want to be happy, be fulfilled, you got to focus on the connections you have, and not only because you need it for yourself, right? But it's beneficial to both of you. We get done more by more people than we do alone, right? So that's why companies build teams. That's why networking is so important, right? You create synergy. You create 1 + 1 is more than 2, and that's being done by connecting to people. So do that. Start focusing on that. If that's out of your comfort zone, good. Then it's something you can learn, right? So again, do this exercise. And if you have any questions or you have whatever, if you feel you need to connect with me, connect me. You go to masteryourpersonality.com, send me a message there, or give me a comment here, or I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm everywhere. So find me and send me a message, and we'll connect and see how we can get you there. So yeah, that's it, man. That's awesome. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it tomorrow because I have some private plans, but we'll see. And otherwise, we'll see each other Monday. So have a great weekend if I don't talk to you tomorrow. And otherwise, I'll see you next time. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Maurice, and I'm signing out. Thank you so much. Take care of each other, right? Connect. Yeah, great study.